Hey, and welcome back to Living My Fest Life, a podcast about festivals, fairs, events, and experiences, everything from the nationally known to the local and obscure. And today I'm talking to musician Michael Robinson about a really cool event that happens annually in Memphis, Tennessee. We're talking about Memphis in May.
I'm living my best life.
I've been more focused on the music aspect, the Beale Street Music Festival, because I am a musician and that's where I'm drawn to. And I like to see people with their bare backs in the sun and spitting tobacco and throwing Bud Light cans around.
That sounds appealing.
Yeah, that was specifically Kid Rock.
Oh, okay.
In 1998, I believe.
Well, I've been to Beale Street, and I just remember the history of jazz. It's just the epicenter of jazz outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing, too, is that even though Memphis is not, like my deceased wife.
Oh, the one whose ghost haunts this very room in which...
Dad, I'm right here, Michael.
When she passed away during our trip to Santa Fe. And
at Meow Wolf.
At Meow Wolf.
Yeah, she's still in the kitchen.
On a very special previous episode. We grew up in Memphis area. I lived there my whole life, just right outside of Memphis. So.
And first, what was that like? Because you grew up around such history. Graceland is right there. Do you grow
Such history.
Do you grow up just worshiping the king? Or, the Memphis, they have a lot of famous recording studios.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
what was that like?
You learn quite a bit about your history. It is so Elvis centric. Like from the time I was able to walk until maybe approaching junior high, I had to play Elvis in everything. Even to the point of in high school where I was in choir, I had to be an Elvis impersonated by Frosty the Snowman type character.
Okay.
So I had to come out and sing Blue Christmas as Elvis. I mean, it permeates everything.
It's in your blood when you live in Memphis.
It is. But you forget that you have people like Al Green and Aretha Franklin, who was born there. Mm-hmm. And you have so many people from that area, like Jerry Lee Lewis, as crazy as he was.
Oof.
He was.
I read that book. I read this book called Rock and Roll Romances.
Yeah, it is out of control, like some of these things. And there's so much there. There's Carl Perkins, who was in Jackson. He wrote Blue Suede Shoes, influenced the Beatles more than anybody else. So you have...
More than anything, even if you don't go to this festival, even going to Memphis as one of the epicenters of music, you would highly recommend.
Yes, absolutely.
Is Sun Studios in Memphis?
Sun Studios is in Memphis.
Okay.
And I believe the Stax Museum is there too. So you have beautiful music all around you. The Orpheum Theater is a great place to see a lot of live music and live comedians who come through. That's kind of a hub. The New Daisy Theater on Beale Street is where I saw Turbo Negro open up for Queens of the Stone Age. I had never heard of Turbo Negro, and they were fantastic.
Don't you love that when you find an opening? Oh, that's beautiful. The ghost of Michael's wife spiritually floated a beautiful photo of the Daisy Theater.
And I hand painted, actually.
Oh, and you guys keep it up there in memory of your wife. Did you take her?
No, I wouldn't dream of that.
Oh, okay.
I grew up there.
So you guys grew up there. That looks like a beautiful theater. Don't you love it when you discover an opening band that you weren't expected and you kind of are like, oh, I'm kind of glad I...
Yeah, well, that's where so I growing up as a Southerner, you're exposed to country music in all shapes and forms. And I always appreciated, even though I don't appreciate his political views now, I loved and will always have a special place in my heart for Charlie Daniels.
Okay.
So I grew up kind of as a fan by proxy because my dad liked to listen to him. Well, after I saw him play there, I think it was in maybe 1999, I think, and I saw him live, I was like, this man knows how to put on a show, and it's great. And so I got to see so many great performers there, just to... almost enough to satiate me because I don't get to go to shows anymore. But there's the history and the culture. The music is everywhere. I have a good friend now. His name's Chris Stevenson. He goes by Doc Fangas, and he plays on Beale Street with a band, and he's a great organist.
So you have really good music taste. You threw me with the Kid Rock off the bat comment, and I was like, all right, we're doing this.
Well, the Kid Rock I did see for a few minutes from the very back, and then I had to get away. I then walked over to see Booker T and the MGs, which was much more fun. I saw a few dud bands that I considered duds. Like
I thought dud was a genre of music that was underground that I didn't know.
Yeah, it should be, because these bands were just not that great. One was.
Do you like dud rock?
You like dud rock? Yeah, I feel like kind of stupid. I'm dumb today. Yeah. There was Hoobastank was the dud band that I saw one year.
And then they blew up.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
I feel like Chumbawamba should be a dud band.
They should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that they ever played there. But
why do you need 20 people to be in your band? Like
only if you're a ska band would that make sense.
Literally I feel like ska bands, like, they just add people for the sake of taking up places on the stage.
Exactly. Ska bands and rap artists, hip hop artists, they have 100 people on stage and nobody knows exactly sure who let them on or if they should be there. Like, I could take a trombone to any ska show and pretend that I'm on the stage.
You could literally walk in with just a random, like, brass instrument, and then no one's really going to question you, I don't think.
No, as long as you have on checkered Vans and maybe an olive green jacket with some olive green shorts.
A funky belt, just to throw it off.
Exactly. Yeah, something that looks like Neo Lederhosen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do it, for sure.
So you grew up in Beale Street, and did you grow up around this festival and kind of look forward and anticipate it to every year, or is it one of those things where it wasn't until you were older that you started to go to the festival itself?
It was older. I knew about it when I was a kid, but it was kind of too far away from where we actually lived. Mm-hmm. It would have taken about 45 minutes to get to Tom Lee Park, right on the river. So that's a kind of cool spot. So my parents weren't into taking us with all those crowds. I mean, for the music festival, you'd see anywhere from like 100 to 150,000 people per day, or, you know what I mean? Like, just too many people. Yeah. And what kind of people show up to the Beale Street? Is it a variety throughout the community, or is it people coming from across the world to come to this? There are people who come from across the world, because they also do have, during that same month, they'll have barbecue contests, cook-offs. And so they'll have people come in from Germany and Italy, Italian barbecue. Yeah. It sounds delicious. The famous. I think everyone. Chef Boyardee is famous for his brisket. If there's anyone who knows brisket, it's the chef. So it does become a multicultural experience. So you do have people there who just love music, and they'll follow bands around and see wherever they're at. So in that aspect, you do get to learn a lot about the people and some culture that's going on there. And then they do focus on a particular place in the world for their culture as well. Like this year, their focus is on Ghana. Yeah. And they pick a different country every year? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so that's really fun. They celebrate Ghanese artists and people and their culture and values, just to kind of give some awareness to Memphis, because Memphis is not as Memphis is a fun place to visit, but growing up there is really kind of difficult. I visited Memphis, had a great time, went to Beale Street, got a alcoholic beverage, walked down, saw some music, and then after about 2 days, I was like, okay, I think I've seen a lot of the main hits. Yeah. If Justin Timberlake doesn't show up in your in Rum Boogie Cafe or whatever, then you might as well just go home. I did have really great Jamaican food, and I actually wrote them a review on Yelp. I loved it so much. It's a very rarity. So Memphis has great food too. Yes, unbelievable food. Well, this barbecue contest is called the most prestigious barbecue contest in the world. It is a 4-day competition held at, like you said, Tom Lee Park at the banks of the Mississippi River, and nearly 250 teams travel from around the world and across the U.S. to compete for the title of world champion, with more than $115,000 in prize money. There's about 75,000 attendees, including teams from 26 states and 6 countries, from Japan to Czech, like you said, Germany, Italy. And then they have different categories, pork, whole hog, anything but pork. So it seems like if you are going to go to a barbecue festival, there's probably a lot in Texas, but it sounds like this is very prestigious to win. Yeah, and my understanding too. Yeah, take that, nerds. My understanding too is that you have to be someone important to be able to get into that.
Do you have to have an invite?
Yeah, like if you're not in the actual picking competition, to borrow from that thing you do.
Yeah.
We got to sail over to picking competition.
I want that blue ribbon.
If you're not specifically involved with it, I think that it's really difficult to get in and like taste some of the foods.
I mean, its official sponsors are Budweiser and Cattleman barbecue sauce. If you have Budweiser as a sponsor for anything, you are the thing.
You are the thing.
You are the thing. Okay.
Yeah, everyone knows it.
And then also, you talked about Ghana. Mm-hmm. So they're having an international salute to Ghana this year, which includes performances, exhibits, and a student exchange, along with education. I love that they pick an honorary country every year. That's really, really cool.
It's really fun. I like it. I am a little bit concerned about what student exchange actually entails.
Okay, so each spring, a group of Memphis and May exchange students travel to Memphis in May, for 10 to 12 days. Enough time to give like a students a taste of what it's like to grow up in Memphis. So what do you think that they probably share with these Ghanese students?
Oh, I'm sure they teach these kids how to properly reload magazines on their weaponry. Mm-hmm. They're taught in a different part of the city how to skin a buck and how to use all of its sinewy body in order to take care of your family meal when you could just go to the Golden Corral.
And also math and science, probably. Yeah.
Well,
throw those in there.
Sure, yeah, on paper.
So the program is offered at no charge to the students or their accompanying chaperone. So they're basically like, hey, from every year we pick a country and we send them over here. And for no charge, we'll take you on a Memphis vacation and experience so you can find out what it's like to be a Memphinian,
yeah. And if you
I'm just ending in with everything.
No, you're right. If you make it out, though, congratulations. That's the big. It's kind of like a Saw type situation. Like you go through a series of tasks and games, and hopefully you come out on the other side.
Speaking of games, they also have the Great American River Run, which is a half marathon, 10K, 5K, and basic race during this event. Ever run it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not even when I was in good shape from playing basketball.
They should just make them run past the barbecue contest and just make everybody at the barbecue contest feel bad about themselves.
See, I think it would be the opposite. I think all of the runners would be like, damn it.
I need to pull over.
I need to stop.
Get some
Is
protein.
That Japanese barbecue?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I think Japanese barbecue sounds good. And that's sponsored by AutoZone. So
and so is this podcast.
Yes. Please visit AutoZone for all your car parts needs. AutoZone. But let's focus again on the music festival. Do you find that the lineups are very different genres of music they like to combine, or is it mainly country focused?
No, they combine. They do a lot of different things. So to speak, here is a current lineup. They have the Lumineers and Lil Wayne, the Avett Brothers, and 3-6 Mafia, some hometown heroes.
Can we just get any more versatile? I love it.
Yeah, they do it all. There's Leon Bridges and Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear. There's Brittany Howard from what's that band she's in?
Brittany Howard?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, was she in the
Alabama Shakes?
Okay.
Yeah. So she's doing I'm
gonna say Carolina Chocolate Drops, but they're different band. Yeah.
Right. So you're going to, because they have 5 or 6 stages set up. You're going to be able to see a different person. I mean, Mavis Staples is playing on a stage. You're going to see these staple, well worn in their 60s, know what they're doing, blues soul performers. And then on the next stage over, you're going to have a bunch of 20-year-olds with synthesizers trying to play what is current right now. And then in a couple of years, they're going to have to trade them for guitars and crap.
That's one of my favorite things about music festivals is when they mix genres so that you can get a taste of not what you came for. And it highly exceeds my expectations almost every time.
Oh, yeah. Without that festival, I don't think I would have become I'm a light fan of 3-6 Mafia. I like some of the things they've done, but I wouldn't like them as much had I not been able to see them perform.
I think you can hear a song on the radio and feel like you know what you know about the musician from the song. It's never true. Seeing people live, hearing their stage banter, hearing their stories, seeing the people that come out for the event, and seeing the production value can totally change a story about how you feel about an artist.
Yeah. So in particular, the experience making it all the difference. My most vivid memory was in, I think it was 2002, Tim Hughes, my best friend and
Very nice fella.
music guy. He and his wife, Lauren, lived on Main Street in Memphis. So they were walking distance from Tom Lee Park. So I went down to their place and Tim and I walked over for the music festival. Well, that night a storm came in and the temperature dropped very quickly from 65.
This sounds like a folk tale.
I know, this feels like a real... like
the temperature dropped and froze the birds on the lake, and darn it if those birds didn't fly off with that lake.
And some of them birds fell on the open barbecue grills.
I want that blue ribbon. Okay, we need to stop.
A whole new genre of foods. So we, as we're standing there, we wanted to see the band live.
The Dolphins Cry?
Yeah.
My first concert.
Okay, well, here we are. This would have been my first concert.
Oh.
So they're scheduled to play, and then Foo Fighters are going to play after that.
Shut up. That's
Tim
great.
and I love Foo Fighters, so we were like, let's check out live. We're not afraid to do that, right? We're music guys. So the storm comes rolling in as if Garth Brooks ordained it. And the temperature drops. It's now like maybe 40 degrees, right? Tim's wearing his signature white T-shirt, which he gets at Baby Gap. And it's a very small.
So he's entering the Memphis Festival wet T-shirt contest unofficially.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And so the weather changes. And there's a little bit of lightning, and then the rain starts coming. It's not heavy rain, but there's lightning, and you're on the river right there. The river's right there. And all these towers are up, and it can be an electrical nightmare, right? So the stagehand comes out about 15 minutes after Live was supposed to take the stage, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey guys, I'm really sorry. Live is not performing their set tonight." To the chorus of boos, because there are people like, we're into this now.
Yeah.
We're in it.
You've been standing.
Yeah, we've been waiting. Yeah, it's cold as shit. We are wet, and we're sticking around for it. We're going to see it, especially for me, because I want to see the Foo Fighters. So they decide they're not going to play. But then there's a lot of movement on the stage. Something else is happening. So as we see, they start rolling out Foo Fighters labeled equipment. And I said, Tim, the Foo Fighters are going to go ahead and play. So when they finally get everything set up and the Foo Fighters come out, Dave Grohl comes out and he goes, "I don't know what makes these guys think that you're not worthy of hearing music, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. Fuck those guys. We're going to play our set and their set."
Shut up!
I mean, they turned around, they turned the stage over in 15 minutes. They had all their stuff out, and then they proceeded to play for about 4 hours.
Dave Grohl is the most magical, badass creature. I don't think he feels pain. I don't think he fears death. I think that he will, because he played with a broken leg recently, and he just, nothing can shut that guy down. Yeah,
he won't let it. And that's
rock and roll. Fucking, I feel like I'm a member of the Lone Rangers. I'm that fourth one. Move over, Kip. Move over, Chester. Exactly. I'm going to tell you what rock and roll is, and it's 100% Dave Grohl and everything he stands about. Yeah.
Me and my tambourine. We're in this band.
We're in this band now.
But it was great. It was one of the best. I've seen the Foo Fighters play there 3 times, and that was by far the best because they had so much extra time to do what they wanted and just getting pelted with cold rain.
And I just remember I used to be obsessed with Bush, and I remember there was it was like someone was counting down like the top moments of the year one year, and it was when Bush played Come Down in the middle of a rainstorm where they're like, they could be electrocuted at any moment, but they're still playing. Like, those moments, it's like, they're doing that for us.
There's a little danger, there's a little risk.
There's not for them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rain came, you saw Foo Fighters. How much does it cost to get into this festival?
When I went many moons ago, I believe my 3-day pass was $55. I don't know what it is today.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
But you would say it's 100% worth the price of the ticket?
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of places to stay around that area as well. So,
are there vendors in place besides the barbecue contest? Can you get a snack? Are there food trucks? Like, what's the vibe there? Because I've been to a lot of music festivals, and a lot of them have been different from each other.
Yeah, everything. Tom Lee Park is on the banks of the Mississippi River, and you can walk up to Bill Street. So you're going to have access to food there.
And you can come back with your pass?
Yes, as long as you have your wristband on, you can come back.
Is it like our festivals around here where they steal your sunscreen and they don't let you out if you come back in? You know, like there's a lot of security concerns. So I was wondering, when you went, what was that like?
Well, they had tons of security because Memphis is not known as a fuzzy, warm place. Right. It's rough at times. It's gotten better over the past decade, but you still want to take your stuff with you. They do have in the park, they do, of course, have your obligatory beer tents, and you can get hot dogs and all that gobbledygook, right? So you have easy access right there. You, like I said, you can venture up into downtown proper and get your Starbucks or your Red Robin or your Maggie Moo's ice cream or whatever it is. Your Texas de Brazil if you're feeling crazy while you stink from the heat.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Bring me more meats for my sweat.
It looks like the general admission for the 3-day pass is now between $125 and $135.
Wow, that's a hike up from when you did. Yes. Okay, so inflation is real, ladies and gentlemen.
It's real and it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're 40 years old and you're trying to do this crap, which I will never, ever go again.
I mean, you wouldn't go to this again?
No.
Just because of crowds, or what would stop you?
The crowds. Yeah. I don't care for shoving. I mean, you get 100,000 people all on your back, and you're jockeying for the best spot for Scott Avett to spit on you potentially. You know what I mean? Which is really what it is. It's kind of like, I want My Chemical Romance to spill a beer on me.
I want Burt Macklin of the Used to spit in my mouth.
Yeah. Which. He'll do that on the street.
He'll vomit on the stage and then say, you're welcome.
You just see him out walking around. He'll volunteer it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be fun to go again. But at this point, you know, especially after Gloria passed away, I kind of just feel the need to take care of myself for a while.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Plus, I have all this insurance money just burning a hole in my pocket. Because they proved it was an accident.
She made you a slice.
So. I can almost feel her.
It sounds like she. Sometimes I close my eyes and I can still hear her voice.
Which is weird because, like, you didn't spend as much time with her. You know what I mean? Like, she and I, we went to high school together.
I'm literally drinking out of her Mumford High School's coffee mug.
You really are, and I really enjoy it.
Do you think she's gonna smite me from heaven? Is this disrespectful?
No.
Probably not.
Gloria was a kind heart.
Right here.
Yeah, she was a sweet girl. I'm going to miss her forever.
I'm going to miss her so much.
You want to take that home with you?
She's not going to use it.
I am going to use it. I still live here.
I don't want to sound like a jerk, and I'm trying to get rid of all of her stuff, but I am going to, with this insurance money, I'm going to need the space.
I can see that this would bring you pain to look at.
Yep. Yeah. You can see all the people we graduated with on the back.
Sad. So, you saying you wouldn't go again. What would be the luxury experience at this festival or any other music festival that would make you go? Recliners?
No, because then you're an easy target if you're in a recliner.
I just feel like there's never really like a sweet spot that I want to watch from, because I want to be close enough to see.
Right.
But then I'm like, okay, then people are pushing on you a little bit. So yeah, there's a lot of festivals now have these VIP experiences, and I don't know if it's that much better. I'd rather be with the normies sometimes.
Yeah, well, and the VIP experience for this one in particular is about $800, and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But there is a part of me, I think, because if I say that I wouldn't go again, but that's just because Gloria is with me. Like if Gloria didn't want to go, I would go for sure, because I kind of like that feeling, because it doesn't happen much for a 40-year-old whose testosterone is rapidly disappearing. I kind of like the feeling of having a stranger hit me in the ribs with their elbow so that I can be like, oh, this could get rough.
They're trying to start a mosh pit during Jules' set, Michael.
Tell her to quit playing that type of music that incites violence.
Her yodeling.
Yeah.
I will say, though, and this is going to sound bad to all of my friends, but the moments where I've had time to sit by myself at a music festival and just sit and enjoy without having to have a conversation, look out for another person, be on my phone, do any of that stuff, I've actually enjoyed the bands a little bit more. Yes.
When you don't have to do any superfluous work to explain to your friends who they are, where they come from, which I feel the need to do. Probably I don't have to. They can just sit and enjoy it. But I get too excited about it. I'm like, these people worked from this place to this place and they opened up and then now they're recording music at Jason Isbell's studio in Alabama and it's just, everything's great. So
it's nice to stand next to that person who knows that if you're discovering a new band, though. But I get where it would be emotionally exhausting to have to explain that kind of stuff. I'll just repeat again. My favorite part of music festivals is discovering the bands that I normally didn't go for. And I'm like, oh, I got to kill time before the set. Who should I check out? Pick a random name off, go, and then are fucking blown away.
Right. George Clinton was a really fun time.
He's from Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was down there. He was a good time. Put on a really good show. Because I think it was that year, it may have been that year where he played, and then the converse stage was Charlie Daniels. So I couldn't go.
Those are very juxtaposed, yeah.
Or it may have been Isaac Hayes and Charlie Daniels. Okay. Which Isaac Hayes is a Memphian, Covington to be specific. So yeah, it's just you get so much. You really can get so much out of it, and it's a really good time. And if you want to go on a trip and you love music festivals and you don't necessarily love all of the Native American headdresses that you'll see at Bonnaroo.
Fuck my life, Coachella. We're going to cover Coachella soon, and I'm going to shit on it probably as much as I'm going to shit on SantaCon. Right. Not that I'm... Yeah, you know I'm here. You live your fest life. You do what you want. But we're good. This is the part of the podcast. We bring you the pros and we bring you the cons, and we don't sugarcoat most of the other things.
No, they have to be stated. Yeah. Just as if Allstate, like if you're on Bill Street after dark, it can get a little bit hairy.
I did discover that as well. Yeah.
You venture one street off, and it can get a little serious.
Luckily, they could navigate. We were stopped by a bunch of good ladies that were like, "Are you guys walking this way?" And we're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You shouldn't. You should turn around and you should go back to the main street with all the bars at, because you're walking a little too far down the other way."
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And some of the places that you drive aren't that great. But I will say, if you do go to Memphis in May, which I do still encourage just for the fun aspect, in the past decade, the city has done really wonderful things with making that main street alive a little bit more downtown. If you venture out into an area called Overton Park, which is not too far from there, maybe about a 10-minute drive, there's shops, restaurants, really good restaurants. Bosco's is a great place to eat. Then you have the Cooper Young district, which is kind of the hip, outpriced housing market area for you, because it's just too cool. Craftsman homes and really good Mexican food. And then there are a lot of breweries that have popped up around. I believe Ghost River might be one of them. A really good restaurant to try. There are two places that I do recommend you try. One is called Hog and Hominy. Okay. My friend Albert's cousin is one of the owners, and the food is fantastic. Then the other place is Muddy's Bakery. Okay. Muddy's Bakery is delicious, and if you can get over to Otherland's Coffee to get your coffee, and then go to Muddy's Bakery, you're going to have a great afternoon.
I feel like I went to a barbecue place called the Commissary when I was there. Have you heard of that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I remember I was there for work, and I said, "Tell me what I have to eat while I'm here." And someone said, "Go down to the Commissary." Yeah. And I just like the name because it implies prison, which is fun. I want some prison gruel because I'm just,
Yeah. No, you're right. What's the name of that? There is a specific barbecue place that everybody tells everybody to go to, where they do dry rub ribs. Do you remember that, Gloria? Ghost of Gloria? What? Never mind. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's like they specialize. Rendezvous. Thank you. The spirits have
Rest
reached
in
me.
peace.
Rendezvous is like the place to go to. They do dry rub ribs, which is not my thing. Still really good. A little more upscale. Delicious. However, if it is still around, my favorite place that I ever got any barbecue, anything, was Interstate Barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Are you fine?
It was very affordable, very good, homemade.
Mm-hmm.
The fried bologna is the only thing I ever wanted to sew into my skin so that I could take it with me later in an easier way. You know what I mean?
And then you could have fried bologna skin as a mask, which would be the perfect serial killer. Okay, we digress. We digress. One more thing before we end our Memphis chat. We're barbecue fans. We're history fans. We're music fans.
We really do it all.
We really do it. We're such just interesting people.
We are cultured swine.
We're so cultured swine. I ate at the commissary with my feathered headdress. What the fuck am I talking about?
I smashed a crack pipe underfoot to prevent more crack babies.
Yes. We are doing our part. Would you recommend Graceland for someone to go to?
Absolutely not.
I would say yes. You tell me your reason, I'll tell you mine.
Okay. I lived in Memphis for about 26 years before I ever went to Graceland. And as previously stated, had to be Elvis in so many school productions, flag productions when my sister was furling flags and parades. Always had to be Elvis and everything. So you figure that my mother, whose name was on one of the bricks outside of Graceland on his wall, you figure that we would have gone. No, 26 years because it was in a quote-unquote rough neighborhood. So we didn't go. Yeah. So we never went. So finally, when I was 26, I took my mother to Graceland, and we walked around, and I was like, yeah, this could be anyone's house at any time.
And that's why I say you should go, because it is, I think outside of Disney World, it's the most visited place in the United States for tourists. They want to go to Graceland. So you drive up this driveway and you get to see Elvis's house. And for me to be able to see the epitome of wealth and fame back then,
1977,
have the Alan Peggy Bundy style house that they did. The jungle room. Yeah. The mirror room.
It's confusing.
It's for me, it was a wonderful aspect of, I want to stay where I am, and I want to live in my hometown, and I want to live with my parents, but at the same time, I got all this money to burn, so what am I going to spend it on?
Yeah, trash.
But they did have the horses, and I remember going in the backyard, and all these people were taking pictures of the ground. And I was like, who are these fucking idiots taking pictures of the grass? Yes. And then I walk out, and you know what it is?
Tell me.
It's their graves of Elvis and his parents buried in the backyard of his Graceland home.
Yeah, and his name is spelled incorrectly.
Did not even pick that up.
Yeah,
maybe they fixed it by the time I showed it.
His name is spelled incorrectly. So that's the big conspiracy that allows everyone to believe that Elvis is still not dead.
Because Eveless is in the grave.
Eveless.
Pristine. I don't know. I would say if you're not an Elvis fan, to go. Because it's just an interesting place. If you're an Elvis fan, obviously you probably want to go. But I'm saying if you're not one, don't let that skew you, because if you like oddities, if you like history, if you like pulp culture, if you like phenomenon, if you like tipping point, investigations, this is something that you want to see. You want to be like, why was this guy so popular? How was he born? How was he raised? And why did he decide to stay in his hometown? And look how he lived his life. I mean, for me, I just like knowing about what happens inside someone else's brain other than me. And that was a big, a way for me to expand my mind, to be like, what was it like to be this person, and what was their thought process? So that's the only reason I say to go. But as someone who lived there and kind of was ingratiated in the Elvis culture your entire life, I can see where it would kind of be a turnoff for you. Yeah.
Now, I mean, now that I think about it, now that you put it that way, you're showing me that I should have appreciated my roots.
Your roots.
My roots.
You don't even have to be an Elvis fan. It's more like, okay, what do we know about the music back then? What do we know about taking jazz and blues and making them into rock and roll. How do we the phenomenon of sending him to war, of him meeting Priscilla Presley when she was 13, all these things. It's just, for me, fascination. I like learning about other people. That's why I like reading biographies. So
yeah, and to be fair, I guess, I would almost rather say go up to Cleveland and go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
even
instead of going down to Memphis. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna go to the Memphis in May Music Festival, go to Graceland. Yeah, you should. You really should.
And maybe even Sun Studio. See what Johnny Cash recorded, a couple other people.
Yeah, the $1 Million Quartet. Yeah, you should know where they came from. Yeah, that's fantastic. But if you want to know like the inside scoop on your all bunch of different favorite bands, then go up to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. But honestly, now you are right. I really should maybe give it another try.
I'm not projecting my thoughts onto you. I'm just saying, as an outsider, just fucking do it, Mike.
No, I want to. I'm going to now.
Do it now.
I don't need you to keep encouring me. You've done quite enough. I don't know
why you're doing it. Okay.
I hate this podcast.
How are you not in Me too. No, I just try not to preach from the hill, but for me, like, it's easy not to see. I've never been to Festival of Lights. Oh. Number one attraction in Cincinnati in the winter, never fucking been. So I get it. I get that some things in your backyard and it's like, what's the appeal? Yes. I go there all the time. Yeah, I drive by. I know everything about this. Yeah, I get it. Right. I'm not saying that you're doing that nasally voice that I'm doing right now.
I do. Sometimes I get infections.
Oh, no, daddy. Yeah, but just going to see the house and have them say to you the first thing when you walk in. You can go anywhere in the house. Just not upstairs. Because you know what happened upstairs.
He took a big old dump and he died.
They don't want you going in there, sitting on that toilet taking selfies. Like, they are like...
They already know.
They are like, and actually, it's respectful. Because I feel like a lot of people go in and they take it really seriously. And as gaudy as the decor is and how much fun you can have with it, you also have this air of respect. Like, this was someone's life.
Right. And part of it too, I think, is when you're looking at the decor and the design, it's so easily relatable because your grandmother grew up with this couch. Yes! You know what I mean? Like, this couch was easy to get by just about anyone during that time. And that's what he chose to put in there. Yeah. So it does make it a little more relatable. Like, you wouldn't be able to do that with Kanye West's house. You walk in there and go, who has granite sofas?
I don't think they have anything in their house. If you've seen a picture,
I have.
It's literally
you're
nothing.
Right. There's like a cylindrical tree, quote unquote,
and nothing else. Yeah. There's nowhere to sit. They sleep standing up in a corner like vampires.
And no one lives like that. But when you go to Elvis, when you go to Elvis Aaron Presley's house, then you do get that humanistic value.
And I will say, I love a self-guided tour. Because I hate tour groups so much.
Yeah, you can't stay long enough if you're with a tour group. You get like 2 pieces of information.
I run in the front. I look at something for a second, I take it in, and I want to move on to the next thing because I am so excited and I want to see it all, and I don't want to waste any time.
That's what I want to do. I want to go in and look at everything and then come back and find out what it means. Yeah. Because now I have a base. I have a baseline.
Now I know what I want to spend my time at. Because when there's too much information, it's like an art museum. When there's too much information presented to you, there's too much shit to see, you get overwhelmed. But if you have a plan of like, okay, I know that I really wanted to go into the jungle room because I heard about these parties in the jungle room or like something like that, like you can spend a little bit more time there.
And Mark Kahn sings Walking in Memphis down in the jungle room. When you hit that specific line, that's when you should go. It's like listening to Pink Floyd and Wizard of Oz.
Oh, The Dark Side of the Rainbow.
Yeah. Yeah, you listen to Mark Kahn's Walking in Memphis while you're walking through.
While you're walking through.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
That's what they should. They should put that inside of the earphones that they give you. Yes. Very cool. All right. Well, anything else you want to plug about Memphis in May or Beale Street or anything like that?
Just go. Be prepared to have very pleasant conversations with people around you because it can happen and they might direct it and they'll know that you're not from there, but they want to be welcoming, but they also want to know what danger you might present to them. So be prepared to have some conversations and have a really good time. Also, don't eat for a couple days before you go there. Like really,
Fast.
really get ready for it. Not so much that your stomach shrinks, but enough to where that you're like, okay, everything's cleared out of this system. Let's trash it up.
Get ready for that Japanese barbecue.
Oh, my word.
I'm living my best life.
Memphis in May International Festival kicks off with the Beale Street Music Fest May 1st through 3rd, 2020. The World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is May 13th through 16th. Great American River Run is on May 23rd, and the International Salute to Ghana will be happening the entire month of May. You can check out memphisinmay.org to learn more. And as always, thank you to Phil from Me Compadre for doing the editing of the show. We'll see you next time. Go fest yourself.
If you're broke.